I think back then, word of mouth was the way in which you advertise, but now I think it's social media. So you want to build a better audience, you want to reach out to more people, be it patients, be it doctors. I think social media is the best platform to do so.
Hello and welcome to Doctor Story, everyone. Does a doctor's profession allows any personal time? Are they even active on social media? Should they or shouldn't they be there? Or is there even any relevance of social media for their profession? To share her views for the same, along with her life experiences, we have invited Dr. Davina Elsa Bose, MBBS graduate from CMC Ludhiana, who has recently completed her internship and voluntarily served a psychiatric center. Further, she has worked in WellCare Hospital, Kochi as a junior resident for the last few months, a fitness and lifestyle enthusiast, and a growing social media influencer. She says a doctor's life is much more than what we see in a hospital. Thus, that's why I have this talk today to acknowledge and learn from her real life experiences the relevance of social media for a doctor by a doctor herself. Dr. Davina, so good to have you here. A warm welcome to Doctor Story.
Thank you.
So, doctor, they say doctor's life is all about work. Like, what do you think? Is there an overlapping, or they can manage, keeping these two as two different entities?
Okay, so I personally think that work and life are two different entities. And my personal opinion would be not to mix both things. So as much as possible, but there are certain exceptions to this, like in case of emergencies where you have to run to the hospital. That's where both of them can get mixed up. But what I'd like to do is every time I'm done with my shifts at the hospital, I try to come back and spend some time to myself. And this is usually the gym for me. So different people can have different kinds of activities that they can get involved in, but something to clear your mind off. So when I'm at the gym, if something went wrong, I would just fix those things and get it out through my sweat. So the moment I feel like I sweat, it's like it's gone. So I'm able to clear my mind and then come back home to start on a fresh plate. Start over, make decisions, take up responsibilities at home, and spend quality time with my family and friends. So I think both of it need to go hand in hand, but as separate entities. So yeah, that's my opinion.
So is it even possible for doctors to separate work and life that way? For most of them?
I think if you are very good with time management, I think it's possible. But then there are exceptions to this, especially when you have long hours at work. Your body needs to rest. So there definitely needs to be compromises that are to be made. But I think for someone with a good, healthy shift and work timings and not too much pressure at work, I think it's possible to balance it out, or at least find some time in the week where you can balance it out, if not for every day.
True, absolutely. And how important or relevant do you think for, as we said, medical officer or doctors or anyone from the medical industry to be present on social media platforms like, Facebook, Instagram? Is it relevant for them, and how important is it?
I think with the increase in technological use these days, we've come to an era where everybody's hooked onto social media, right? So, and a lot of it is for entertainment purpose. It's for time pass, I would say. And that is why people are just so addicted to something like social media. We as doctors, we are trained professionals. We have a lot of knowledge that we can give people. So I think instead of using social media as just for entertainment purpose, it is also important for us to provide some sort of information which can be put as into an entertainment kind of form, something where you can attract people through the way you present certain information. And I think as doctors, this is very important because we need to create more awareness about a lot of things. And social media is one important and very, very useful way in which you can reach out to a wider audience, provided that you can give value to them. So I think in this in this modern era where we have where everything is changed, like everything is becoming more about how much you can use your electronic gadgets, right? So and even with the upcoming robotics surgeries, and even now we've come to a time where cadavers is not used so much. So instead they're trying to make it all digitalized and trying to teach students through technology. So I think back then word of mouth was the way in which you advertise, but now I think it's social media. So you want to build a better audience, you want to reach out to more people, be it patients, be it doctors. I think social media is the best platform to do so.
A total new, different side of it that you were coming up with. Yes. So what all arenas or opportunities can such platform bring on for a doctor? And how can, doctors make most out of social media?
All right. I would say the number one thing is to create an audience. That is, like I said before, earlier, in order to know about a doctor, it's probably a relative or a friend who probably went to that doctor, or someone knows. It's word of mouth. But now we have something like the social media platform where people can directly look at you or what you do, how you provide certain information. Your knowledge can be tested with your social media platform, which can definitely gain patient trust, and you can get more patients through this platform. So that is number one. You can provide an audience. Second, there are few doctors who I follow on my accounts who provide me information in general about certain things I need to study. So it's not just for patients, it's also for people like me, who is a doctor myself, to be able to learn from doctors who are more learned than me. So I think for both ordinary as well as people, professionals, this becomes a good platform to educate, to learn. And I think knowledge is something that needs to become free. I don't think that you need to spend so much money on gaining information, because in the end, we need to save lives. That's all that we're trying to do. So, so that's the second thing. And then this is also a good place to create a network with people of your similar interest. So if you are a pediatrician, for example, you can connect with other pediatricians from so many different places all around the world, and you can probably do something together. You can collab with them. You can probably connect or talk about certain patients, refer patients from one place to another. There's so many things you can do with social media. And last but not the least, I would say collaborations. This is an effective tool if you want to make small business out of social media. I think during the COVID era, I think there was a time where doctors were really in need of scrubs at the hospital, like in order to, maintain the, hygienic state and all that. So during that time, I know of one doctor who got sponsored by a scrub company, and it was a paid collaboration. They were able to not just get free scrubs, but also give out free scrubs at a discounted rate for other people. So people who watch that doctor, they're able to get these scrubs also at discounted rates. So you can do benefit to other people. So I think social media is a great way to build connections and to be able to do such small business, and also online consultations. It provides patients the opportunity to be able to ask their doubts online, and which is very much convenient, especially if they are far away from their doctor or they do not have access to a hospital. I can give you one example where there was a person who DM'd me in my messages on Instagram of an ECG, and I was able to diagnose an MI, myocardial infarction. And obviously I confirmed it with my senior doctor too. And then I told him to get his mother to the hospital as fast as possible. So definitely this is a life-saving thing for certain people. You never know when you can help out and how you can help those people. There are definitely people I have helped through my social media account, and I would only promote this to people to do the same.
Wow, absolutely. I think it's more opportunities than more than the personal opportunities. We are opening up a new arena for them to put out good information, the real like experiences, right? And what about the flip side? If we talk about what are the challenges or the downside faced by a doctor influencer?
Okay, so a doctor is seen as a professional, right, in a hospital with a white coat and a stet and maintaining all sorts of posture, seeing patients. So we have great respect there. Now, when we come to social media, there may be certain things. For example, I do fitness. So the way I'm seen as a fitness influencer is much, much different from the way I'm seen as a doctor. It's like two different people. Okay. So the level, so my audience will be people at the hospital. There are people at the hospital, the staff, the other doctors who see me do this, like this other side of me. So sometimes, knowingly or unknowingly, the level of respect comes down, and I tend not to be taken seriously, or I don't know what it is about the whole social media thing. But I think this needs to change. That is why I'm here, and that is why we're having this talk. I'm here to highlight that we are much more than just doctors. We are humans with interests and with passions that we like to follow. So I think it shouldn't be frowned upon. Rather, it should be praised, because we can take care of two different lives, at a good balance. That's what I'm saying. So that's number one. The second thing is sometimes the internet can be very negative. So this can have an impact over you. Social media is a good way to provide information, but there will be criticism for every sort of information you give out there. There will be someone questioning you. Some of this may be constructive. You'll be able to build on your mistakes and probably find out more information to rectify that. But some of this can affect us in a bad way. So I think you need to know how to filter these two out. You need to know what needs to get through you and what needs not. So you need to build that shield or that barrier to create that kind of space for you. Third is obviously any social media can get addicting. So you need to have that right balance. You need to know when to get on it and when not to. And you need to know how this need not interfere with your real, your professional life also. So I think these are the major drawbacks.
So is it also like, according to your experience, does doctor presence on such platforms like degrade or devalue their professionalism? And do people actually judge a doctor's ability by the amount of time he or she is actively engaging on such platforms?
Unfortunately, yes, it does happen. It's happened to me. So I think, yes, I think the answer is yes. People tend to see doctors who are active on social media as people who do not give enough time to work. But the truth is, we are people who know how to balance it out. So if I spend 8 hours at work, I come back, I refresh my mind, and then I work on my social media, say 1 or 2 hours a day for 3 days in a week. So if you're able to keep this balance, I think it's a really good thing. But the level of respect and that definitely does go down. But this needs to change. That is why we have to do something about it and create awareness and tell people that we are humans who like to pursue our passions. So I think it's very important to, more than anything else, I think it's important to be examples. And the best way in which you can get trust from a patient is by citing your own example. I cannot go to a patient and tell them, hey, you're obese. I think the best way to get over this is by probably exercising, change your diet. When at the same time I'm sitting there not doing anything about my own life, that's not right of me. A patient will be able to trust better with a doctor who actually does things. If they see me do things, that is the best way in which they can, get that inspiration to probably do something. So this is my perspective, and I think that that is why I started my fitness journey, because I didn't want to advise someone something that I didn't follow. So this is one of the basic things that we should do as a doctor. Not just this, with every aspect of our lives, including sleep, diet, exercise. All these lifestyle modifications are the core necessity right now, especially with the number of cases that are increasing with diabetes and hypertension and obesity. I think this is the starting, this is the starting step. So if you're through with this, I think you can make a huge change, you can make a huge difference in this world.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, as you were talking about the criticism that you have faced or the downside that you have been experienced, could you share the instance and how right or wrong do you think it was?
All right, so from personal experience, so I started my Instagram account just last year. I put it on public, and I started with doing things that I liked. So that's how I started. But then again, I shifted that to more of a fitness oriented, and I tried to put my fitness journey into the whole account, just to help people out who started just like I did. So I did get less respect at work. There were sarcastic comments made, and I was not taken seriously, I would say. And whenever I said something, there was always some sort of mockery towards the way I behaved in my social media accounts. So I don't know. I personally think it's wrong to be able to judge someone on the basis of what they do with their personal lives. If you as an ordinary person are able to live a work life and a normal life by doing whatever you want, I think a doctor should be given the same privilege too. We are no different from other people, and we do have interests, like I said before. So if this is my passion and this is what I want to follow, I think I should be respected for what I do, rather than shunned and disrespected at work. So because I behave professionally at work, and when I am at work, I do not mix both the two. So like I said before, so I think there should be no reason to actually disrespect, or there should that's what I think. So
no, that's perfectly on point. I think there should be no reason to be disrespectful of someone who just have his own life apart from a professional life, right?
Yeah,
it's totally justified. So also, as you are a fresh graduate, I would like to ask you, with respect to the degree in education, is there been any sort of teaching in medical training and how to communicate on a public level with communities or with patients?
The maximum level of public health we received, education that we received, was in community medicine. But that also was more of something, it didn't involve social media or public platforms. I don't think we were educated on that manner, and I think it needs to be added in the curriculum. I wouldn't blame the system though, because when I passed out, it's still a very growing field, and it's just coming up. So I think for the next few batches, I think this is important to be added to their curriculum as to how to deal with people publicly. We need to learn more about communication rather than just how to treat patients or how to give medication or how to diagnose. I think communication is the first key to becoming a doctor, a good doctor. Without that, I do not think the patients would be comfortable. There's so much that can go wrong if you do not know how to communicate well. And I think if your public platform or the way you address and reach more people is effective, I think you can become great and become an effective and wonderful doctor.
That's fantastic. So finally, if I could ask you, what advice would you give to a doctor who wants to start their journey on social media platform?
I think as long as you keep the drawbacks in mind that I mentioned earlier about addiction and about how not to let the negative effects of social media get to you, and also about like good time management, I think this is a great place to grow. I think social media, from my perspective, as long as you keep those things in mind, I think it's definitely a good platform for you to reach other doctors and reach a wide variety of people. You have no idea how much like patience can teach you. And my social media itself have like, there are a couple of people who have asked me questions which has got me to go back to my books and read about certain things and come back to them, or find out more like more things about the particular topic. So it's definitely a good way to learn yourself also. So I would definitely recommend this to all the doctors that want to come up in this field. And I'm no big influencer. I just started my journey last year, but if there's any way I can help, I would love to do that. So.
Well, a great piece of advice, I think, for all of them. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Davina. It's been such an insightful discussion, I think, about a doctor's life and the impact one could and can create via social media. And especially coming from a doctor herself, it's amazing. So we appreciate the time you took off for our discussion. Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem.